Hello peoples! In today's video we're going to be using a Hurricane to do a little bit of Hammerhead hunting in 3.14. This is basically an update video from the one that I did in 3.13 where we were using a Hurricane with size 4 distortion scatter guns, which was really effective. They're not so much effective in 3.14 unfortunately, so we had to change the build up a little bit. So as we bring up Erkul here, you're going to see that we have now Omni Sky 12s that we're going to use. These are size 4 fixed laser cannons. They do a pretty good job. They got a slightly slower rate of fire than something like repeaters, but they're still very effective due to their alpha damage when hitting larger ships. Because this is a Hurricane, we're going to have our turret do most of our DPS. So in this case, we're going to use Panther repeaters. You can use laser cannons on the turret as well. Whatever floats your boat, they're both equally effective. We're going to round the build out with a whole bunch of size 1 spark missiles because in 3.14 having more missiles seems to be a better option than having fewer missiles. They give us a pretty good range and a little bit of distraction. For the rest of the build, we're going to go with a stealth build, so Umbra, Eclipse, Snowblind, and then of course the Atlas for our quantum drive. So you can see here we got pretty good DPS overall. Now, as usual, you will find a link for the build in the video description below. Go ahead, check it out, give it a shot, come back here, and let me know what you think in the comments. Now go ahead, get yourself a nice snack, a decent beverage, sit back, relax, and let's see how we do. I'm thinking pizza rolls for the snack. But first, before we go on, a public service announcement. Have you ever found yourself on the dark side of a planet in an asteroid field where you can't see the asteroids, only to run face first into one? Here's a little safety tip. Use your scanner ping. It will light up those pesky little asteroids so that you can avoid them and not end up crashing in head first. Not only does it work in an asteroid field, but if you are on the dark side of a planet with very low visibility, you can use scanner ping as well to see the ground and any mountain hilltop that you may be hurling at an incredibly high rate of speed. So, save your life, save others, play it safe, use scanner ping. Just keep in the back of mind that when you ping, others can see you as well, but it may make the difference. We now return you back to the regularly scheduled video. So here we are in our ERT mission. We've got the Hammerhead. Notice that we've got a couple ads. The first thing to note is I'm going to try and pull the Hammerhead a little bit out of that asteroid field so I don't run smack face first into an asteroid while I'm trying to orbit the Hammerhead. That's also going to give us a little bit of distance between the two escorts or the two ads that you can see are already in the game. The second part is I'm using attrition 4s. This is different from the Erkul view that had the Omni Sky laser cannons. Basically, after doing a whole bunch of different missions, trying laser cannons versus laser repeaters, it really doesn't matter which one you use. They're both going to work to be able to take the Hammerhead out. It comes down to personal preference. The laser cannons are a little bit more for a slower, larger ship like the Hammerhead. You're going to land, I think, more heavier hitting shots, but less of them. The attritions are good for dealing with ads and helping boost the turret gunner's firepower when you're going against them. But either one will work fine. Here's a quick tip to keep the shields down on the Hammerhead. Talk to your turret gunner. As the turret gunner's energy pool gets low, have them give you a heads up so that you can stop firing, let your energy pool come back up on your weapons so that when they run out, you can take up the slack, keep pressure on the shields to keep them down, and then when that energy pool on the turret gunner comes back up, they can join the fight and start firing again. Works out great. Now here you can see our shields have gone down. I'm going to apply full power to shields to try and get them back up. The issue is not the Hammerhead though, it's the ads. They've now come within range and they're firing at us, particularly this Valkyrie and the Vanguard that are the escorts for the Hammerhead. So now you want to make a decision. Break off, deal with the ads, get rid of them, and then that way the Hammerhead's going to be a lot easier to deal with on its own. Now here's another tip. You as a pilot, let your turret gunner do the work. You can add in like I'm doing here every now and then, but your primary responsibility is the ship. Work on keeping your boost up, your shields up, all that good stuff. If you need to get out of range or close the distance, you worry about that. Let your turret gunner handle all the fighters, all the escorts, because they have much better range and they've got a lot of firepower with those 4 size 3 weapons. With both the Valkyrie and Vanguard dispatched, now what we want to do is get a little bit of distance from the Hammerhead and recharge our shields before we go back after it. Notice that my turret gunner is able to continuously shoot at the Hammerhead despite the fact that I am 180 degrees moving away from it. So that's again the advantage of having that turret gunner. Obviously once we get out of range, they won't be able to continue to shoot, but every little bit helps, right? So work with your turret gunner 100%, and the both of you are going to be real happy with the outcome. So now as we close in on the Hammerhead, which was previously already damaged from the run-in that we had before we went after the ads, I'm going to add all of my firepower to the turret gunner, and we're going to make short work of this guy. Now we kill the Hammerhead. I get a little freeze here. You can see we got confirmation of the kill, and then black screen. Yes, I had a client-side crash. So I am now quickly trying to load back in after restarting the program. Now I left this little part in because I want to assure people a couple things. One, it's an alpha, we know it's going to crash, but a lot of times this gets really frustrating, particularly if it happens a lot, and people will have the tendency to rage quit the program, right? So instead of reloading the game, they just exit out and that's it. And what I want to show you here is that if you just simply load back in, because it is a client crash, as long as you have another player in the same area, like in the case of a turret gunner, my friend Hammerdukey's sitting there and he's like, hey, it's all fine, you're going to load right back into where you left off, which in this case is the pilot seat of the Hurricane. Now I am going to go bring up my Moby Glass and do a quick check, make sure in my history that that ERT mission was complete. As you can see, there it is right there, objective completed. That's all good. So just be aware of that. Don't just close the program out because of a client crash. So as always, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell. Leave me a comment or two. Let me know what you think. And as always, until next time, take care.